We are preparing the peanut butter. Lay down. She's been impatiently waiting, but we're going to give it to her now. I tried to delay to the very last moment, and I put way more peanut butter in this time. So, you very well deserved good waiting. You did better this week than last week. Why don't you come on over here? Lay down. Good. Okay, the dog has been peanut buttered, and I've got my little space set up, so I don't see that anybody has hopped on yet, but I certainly hope to see some people hop on momentarily. So welcome to my lovely space. It's getting more and more set up every week. I am in love with it. It's quite fabulous. So I'll be practicing in the middle of it. And again, the more zenned out I can be, the easier it is for me to take you there. So perhaps, you can create your own environment that helps you to feel peaceful and relaxed. That is certainly a good goal to have. So without further ado, let us begin. And I'm just gonna start in the center of the floor here. Resting my hands on top of my thighs. Oh, hello, I see someone has joined in, welcome. We're gonna begin with our breath awareness. So taking your eyes to a closed position. Begin to take nice long inhales through the nose and exhales through the nose. Let's count 10 total breaths. As you begin counting and exploring these breaths, see if you can find just a little bit more tallness in the spine with your inhale. Maybe a little bit more drawing back of the shoulder blades, a little bit more tightening of the tummy to help support that trunk, especially with your exhale. Maybe the sound of your breath becomes more and more audible as it gains depth and length. We all should be coming somewhere around that 10th breath, maybe a little more, a little less, either way. All wrapping up together. Let's take our eyes into just a soft gaze, and then let's take our hands into prayer position. And as we press the palms together, the tendency might be for the shoulders to round, but we're going to try and keep the chest open, and in fact lift the chest open to the palms, and maybe even draw those elbows a little bit more down alongside your torso, just feeling the erectness in your posture, the openness in your heart. Keep a little bit of pressure between those palms to help create that circuit of energy in the upper body. Interlace all of your fingers together except for your index finger, and take those fingers and just reach up nice and tall towards the ceiling, trying to keep the palms pressed together and trying to get the biceps in line with the ears. It might not happen that easily at first, but we're just going to start with a gentle upward reach, and then we'll start to take the body to the right, and then take the body to the left. We're going to do that 2 more times. Right, left, right, and left. And then take yourself back up to the center, lifting up tall, fan the fingers open, and fold forward in your seated position, tucking that chin towards your chest. And then start to walk your hands back up alongside your body so that we come to a seated position. And then we're actually going to move into a kneeling position. So we're going to come first into a tabletop. And then we're gonna take that right leg and we're gonna slide it forward so that it comes to the top of your mat or the floor. And I've got my arms surrounded on either side of that leg. I'm gonna prop myself up onto fingertips so that I can help get a little bit more space, lift through the head and neck, and start to open up that left hip flexor, taking a nice cycle of breath. One more nice cycle of breath here. We'll plant that left hand down onto the mat, and you can take your hand on top of the thigh and just start to rotate the trunk. If you want to keep this hand for support, you certainly can. If you want to take it to the hip, you can do that too, or stretch it up to the sky for a nice deep twist, a hip flexor twist. One more cycle of breath. And as we release, we're gonna reach that arm all the way back forward to the inside of that leg. And this time, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, your leg out a lot wider. And we're gonna take another descent, but just a little bit deeper into that pelvis. So these are really good hip openers as we create some space for all the food we're gonna consume at Thanksgiving, right? All the healthy food. 2 cycles of breath. Wonderful. Take your hands and start to walk them back towards your other thigh so that the right leg becomes more straight. We're going to start with just a nice fold. My hands are still on the inside aspect of my right leg so that I can feel the backside of that thigh stretching. Notice that the toes are flexed up, so we're just going to let that hamstring take its first nice deep stretch. The spine, I'm attempting to keep it as straight as possible so that I am flexing down with an open chest and heart. We're going to take an inhale first, reaching through that open chest. As you exhale now, I want you to round through the back and let the body collapse down towards that thigh so that you feel a deeper hamstring stretch. After that third cycle of breath, begin to elevate the chest, and we're going to keep this leg out like so, but we're going to walk the arms over towards this knee, and I'm swiveling, I don't know if you can see it through my pants, but swiveling this leg back so that we've got a slightly different angle. Now we're taking a little bit more of an inner thigh stretch. My toes are still directed upward. It's just changing the angle of pull. And then with this position, we're just gonna lean back into that knee. You might not go all the way down, but just enough so that you can really feel that inner thigh getting introduced to a stretch. Let's take 3 cycles of breath here. Nice straight spine. Very nice. And now we're just going to start to walk our hands back forward, coming into that original lunge. And I want you to feel the difference in that original lunge that we did. It should feel much different. Now, you can choose to just repeat here again and just hold for a few cycles of breath, or you can flip the back toes under, lift up off of the knee, and take an even deeper stretch. My hip and my leg are straight. My pants are just harem, so there's a lot of bagginess to it, but the idea is to have that back left leg really straight and strong. The knee is pressing up towards the ceiling. You're pressing back into that heel if it's elevated. Otherwise, staying in the low lunge, there's no problem there because it's probably a lot deeper this time around. And then we're going to also take this a little further and go back into that rotation stretch. I could cheat with my trapeze, but I won't. I'm going to use my own strength. After that third cycle of breath, let's take the arm back down. We're gonna drop that knee, slide the right leg back into tabletop, and we're just gonna take 3 cat-cows before we switch to the other side. So we're gonna inhale, dropping the belly, flaring the tailbone. Exhale, round through the back, tucking the chin to the chest. 2 more times. And then coming back to that neutral tabletop, I'm gonna just square myself off again. We're gonna take the left leg now forward. We're gonna start by surrounding the leg with both of our arms. I'm on my tips of my fingers so I can try and find a little bit more height in my spine and some space in that hip flexor. And the side's probably feeling a little tight and stiff because we haven't quite gone through. So we wanna just be kind to it and give it the same courtesy we did on the other side. Breathing into the pelvis, reaching out of the crown of the head, just finding 2 more cycles of breath. Always good to make a sound with your exhales. It just feels right. My right hand now, I'm going to plant down into the earth. Left hand, I'm going to start on the thigh and just even start to get that trunk and torso rotated. You might even choose to just stay right here. You can take your left hand on your hip, or if you want to stretch it all the way up towards the sky, you can to take an even deeper opener. Nice deep twist. After that third cycle of breath, take that arm, reach it forward, place it on the inside aspect of that left foot, and then we're gonna just heel toe, heel toe, heel toe our foot out to the side. So now we're sinking in, just getting a little bit more into those rotators, a little bit deeper into the hip and pelvis. And we'll keep the head and neck up nice and tall, trying to let that pelvis just drop a little closer towards the floor. These are really tight muscles, so that's why we're spending so much time on them, to help give them a chance to really open up. Very good. And let's take those hands and just start to walk them back, pushing yourself off of that position into a hamstring stretch. So the toes flex up, hands come to the inner aspect. I'm going to keep my chest lifted as best I can, the spine tall. Just going to hold this for just a moment as we take our nice tall inhale. And now as you exhale, round through the back, tuck the chin towards the chest, finding that sweet release in your hamstring. Start to lift back up through your head and neck, and then we're going to just start to walk the hands over towards the knee, and then again taking that back leg and swiveling it inwards so that you're just making the angle a little bit easier. Hands are going to plant, and you can find a nice spine, either sinking back or just staying right where you are, depending on where you perceive the stretch on this inner thigh. It is part of your hamstring group, but you're going to feel a lot more inner thigh pulling from this position. Half frog. Just breathe into that inner thigh for 3 full cycles of breath. Good. And after that third cycle of breath, I'm going to walk my hands back, forward, bending through the left knee, coming into that nice low lunge once again. Now to return to what we did on the other side, we can, you can stay right here and repeat the same twist as we did before. It's going to be deeper than it was the first time. Or you can take the back leg, flip the ball of the foot under, and then lift up off of the knee, keeping a nice straight and strong leg. Again, my pants are deceiving, but the leg is straight and strong. And then holding this first cycle of breath. I've been choosing to go deeper into that twist by extending the left arm up towards the ceiling. We'll take 3 here. After that third exhalation, bring the arm back down. You can drop the knee and slide that left knee back into place. Ooh, boy, some changes in the hips. And now let's take 3 cycles of breath with our cat-cow again. Inhaling, lifting up through the chest. Exhaling, rounding. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Back to just a neutral tabletop. I'd like to address a little bit more of some upper body sensations. So we're going to do a stretch called Thread the Needle, keeping with some of the twisting theme. So I'm going to turn my body this way because we're going to start with the right arm. So I'm going to inhale that arm all the way up towards the sky. And as I exhale, we're going to thread it underneath the body, stretching it out and dropping the head and the back of that shoulder down onto the carpet or mat. I'm going to slide backwards a little bit so you can see everything. And you can see the bottom is still elevated in the air. This top arm can do a couple different things. We can stretch it up just like this. You can take it and wrap it around the small of your back, trying to hook on the front of your hip. That's a nice alternative too. Or you can just even keep it placed by the side of your face. So any of those are excellent options. I'm going to take this one because I think it feels good. And I'm also taking the back of this arm and trying to press it against the carpet to help increase some of that shoulder stretch. Your hips, although they are stationary for the most part, if you shift them just a little bit more towards the right, which you may or may not be able to see on the camera, but just moving them in the direction towards the right will help you encourage a twist against the floor or your mat or carpet, whatever you're on. Excellent. Wherever your hand is, decide to take it back to the side of your face so that you have some leverage. You're going to push into the floor and let that arm float all the way back up to the sky, twisting, and then releasing it back to the mat. I'm going to spin around, but if you don't really need to, you just have to do the other side. So the left arm now, we're going to rise up to the sky. And then we're going to thread that needle, dropping it underneath the body, letting the shoulder and the head come to the mat, keeping the rear elevated in the air, pressing that arm against the carpet or the mat, and then this arm again resting by your face, stretching out in front of you, or taking it around into the bind, hooking around the hip if that's desired, and you can rotate a little deeper that way. My personal favorite is the arm up above the head, but again, my personal favorite might not be yours, so just experiment with them and see what feels right for you. Sometimes challenging the body in the direction that's the hardest is what's best. And then again, taking that arm and pressing it into the floor. You can see how I just gained a few more degrees just by that action. And then I'm going to shift my hips over towards the left just a little bit more to deepen that shoulder stretch. This is great posture for the tension in our back and between our shoulder blades. We're twisting and wringing out toxins. It's fantastic. Let's take that right arm and we're going to reposition it to the side of the face if it's not already there. Press that hand into the floor to lift that arm all the way up, opening it towards the left, and then releasing it back down towards the mat. Take all 10 toes, flip them underneath, push off the knees, and come into a wide downward facing dog, tucking the chin towards your chest, wiggling through the hips and pelvis, and finding a really nice release. take those legs and just walk them up towards the hands, coming into that fold. We're gonna let the upper trunk just hang so that the legs are really powering up, the core is powering up to make this feel really supportive. My knees are bent so that the thighs are supporting my belly and my torso so that I can really just let go in that upper body. I know the tendency may be to look towards the screen, but try and let your head and neck just go in this posture, and when we're ready to move, you'll hear the sound of my voice. Shift the weight slightly more into the balls of the feet so that you can feel the tailbone rising towards the ceiling, extending through the knees and feeling the hamstrings take a deeper stretch. And now begin to take your hands and slide them up the shins. You can elevate the head and neck now as you bend through the knees and take a half fold. So the half fold, we're not rounded like our cow posture, but we're almost extended like cat so that we have a nice straight spine. And then as we drop our bottoms, our hands can reposition and take that nice rise into standing safely. The hands extending above the body and exhaling them back down towards heart center. I should have done that from the start. Okay, so we're going to take our hands up. Exhale, hands back down to heart center. Let's take some warrior two postures. I think we've got plenty of time to squeeze. Yes, we do. A few more in. So we're going to separate our feet nice and wide. And then we're going to take our right toes and turn them outward. Bend through that knee. So now we've got a straight and strong left leg and a bending right knee. My hips are square to you guys because that's the direction I chose to face. So my shoulders are going to follow that direction. First, we'll take the hands to the hips, squeeze the elbows together, open up that chest, open up that heart center, bend a little deeper into the knee, and then without moving your trunk, just let the arms float up to shoulder height, and again, not moving your trunk, try and take your gaze over the right hand. Nice, solid warrior two. 3 cycles of breath. Release the hands to the hips. We're going to straighten back out through the right knee, dial the toes in, and then just simply dial the left toes out. What do you have? Okay, good. That's one of your toys. And then we're going to bend in through the knee. So I've got a bent left knee and a straight right leg. I'm going to keep my hips square to the camera, and my shoulders are going to stack right on top of my hips. Take the hands on the waist and then slide them back. The elbows will come towards one another, opening up that chest, setting you up for some success. So sometimes we feel the need to be here because we're front leg heavy. So try and keep that trunk again nice and upright. And without moving the trunk, let the arms float up into warrior two. And then again, without moving the trunk, just rotate the head and neck over that left hand, taking your gaze to the middle finger or the index finger. Three cycles of breath. Release your hands back to your hips, straighten out through that knee, dial the toes in, and now we're going to take a split stance forward fold. So slight bend to the knees, you don't want to have them hyperextended or locked out, and I'm going to lead with an open chest as I come down, half fold, and then you can let the hands come down to support the full fold. 3 cycles of breath. And then take your hands, press back into the mat so that the spine becomes straight. And we're just going to take one leg back, followed by the other. Push back into downward facing dog. Tuck the chin towards the chest. Easy there, killer. shift the weight forward into the arms, drop through the knees. Hi, why don't you move over here? Okay. And then we're gonna take another bird dog posture. I'm gonna turn my body to the side for this one. Ooh. Try not to get a tail in the face. So the core, we're gonna draw the core in nice and tight. We don't wanna be overarched and we don't wanna be overextended. So we just want a nice neutral spine. Keep that tummy drawn in, try not to move it. Slide your right arm forward, left leg back. And you don't have to lift both. Charming, please behave. We're almost done. And when you're ready, float arm and leg off of the mat, reaching them in opposite direction. Hold for 3 cycles of breath. Excellent. Release the hand and release the knee. Slide the left palm forward and the right knee back. Tighten up through the core, and then we're going to elevate leg, elevate arm. 3 cycles of breath. Stop it. That's not yours. Charming, no. Hi. Oh. Now release. Now let's take our knees really wide and stretch your arms far forward. Take a nice puppy pose in honor of this lovely puppy here who's taking over the session. Don't you dare. No. No. And we'll rise back up. Oh man. Meditation at its finest. You're a nut. You're an interruptive nut. Okay. I'm almost done. I'm almost done and then we'll play. Okay. So, on that note, I would like for you, I'm going to have to sit on this, but I would like for you to find your comfortable Shavasana positioning. If this isn't the ending of your day, you don't have to choose a laying down position. You could be in a sitting position for just the final few moments of breath and relaxation. But certainly to really let the body decompress and integrate, lying on your back with the arms extended alongside your body, the legs extended, is the traditional posture for Shavasana. But I always like to say you got to do what makes you feel comfortable and allows you to feel peaceful and centered. So as you find that position, allow yourself to close your eyes and take a few more cycles of breath. Let's make it 3. And allow yourself to connect with that spirit that's deep within you, the calmness and the stillness. Allow yourself to feel your breath wholly through your entire body. Return to this sensation at any point during your day when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. And take the next several moments to rest in this place. Rest in the stillness. The light and honor in me respects and honors the light in all of you. Namaste.